The trees had been restless for weeks. Not in the wind, no, not the rustle of pine or the creak of birch. This was deeper. A low vibration beneath the forest floor, like the land itself, was holding its breath. Elias Thorne stood at the edge of the timberline, boots sinking slightly into damp soil, eyes scanning the black canopy ahead. He didn't need night vision to know they were watching. Every nerve in his body, sharpened by 20 years in black ops, screamed that something unnatural had nested in the trees. Something not from this earth. A rustle. 20 feet up. No animal he knew moved like that. He exhaled slowly and crouched, hand resting on the matte black handle of the tomahawk strapped to his thigh. Elias had come to this forest 3 years ago to disappear. A small cabin. No neighbors. No noise. Just the wind, the river, and the silence he'd bled for. But peace didn't last. Not for men like him. Not when old ghosts started whispering through the branches. 2 days ago, he found a mutilated deer with both eyes removed, surgically. The carcass was drained of blood, suspended high in the canopy, out of reach of predators or pranksters. That night, the first child vanished from the nearby settlement. 12 years old? No footprints. No struggle. Just silence. Now the forest watched. Elias whispered into the calm clip to his collar. "You in position?" "5 meters behind your 6, came the soft reply. Dr. Lila Moreno emerged like a shadow, dressed in a damp field jacket 2 sizes too big, sleeves rolled, hair tied back in a no-nonsense bun. She wasn't a soldier, not by training. But she was sharper than most he'd known. Astrobiologist. Former UN advisor. And the only person who believed him when he said the woods were being scouted. "I caught another pulse just now," she murmured, tapping her handheld scanner. The screen flickered red. Triangulated. "It's circling us." Elias didn't respond immediately. He watched the trees. Waited for the forest to twitch. "They're not signals," he said at last. "They're sonar. Echolocation. They're mapping us like bats." Her brow furrowed. "Then what do they want?" He gave her a grim glance. "To see how long it takes us to die." A faint, mechanical chirp broke the silence. They both froze. The sound came again, mimicking the exact pitch of a local bird, but distorted, hollow, like something repeating a melody it didn't understand. Lila's eyes widened. "That's not natural." "No," Elias agreed. "It's bait." Without warning, a dull thump echoed above them. Elias dove, dragging Lila down just as something massive landed in the brush with unnatural grace. Leaves scattered. A long-limbed figure unfurled from the foliage, its shape barely perceptible, skin mirroring bark, limbs jointed in the wrong places. Its head tilted at a disturbing angle as it took a silent step forward. Lila gasped. "That's not the same one we saw last week." "They're not sending the same ones twice," Elias muttered. "They're learning." The thing moved again, blinding speed, almost a blur. Elias fired. The suppressed shot cracked like a whisper. The round hit dead center. The creature staggered but didn't fall. Instead, it shrieked, not from its mouth, but from its chest, where a pulsating, luminous core lit up like a flare. The trees responded. From above, more shapes dropped. "Run!" Elias growled. They sprinted. Branches lashed their faces. Roots clawed at boots. The scanner in Lila's hand sparked and died, short-circuited by an EMP burst Elias could feel in his fillings. "We're being herded!" she shouted. "No. Surrounded." He stopped suddenly at a fallen cedar and yanked a tarp free. Beneath it, a row of steel traps, rigged to wire-triggered grenades. Elias flicked the safety off one and handed it to her. "If they follow, we make this their tomb." Lila stared at him. "We're outnumbered. We're not outmatched." The creatures advanced through the trees. Not rushing. Stalking. Calculated. Confident. Elias stood, breath calm, eyes hard. "I've fought shadows before," he whispered. "But you came to the wrong planet." The trap snapped. Flames erupted. Screeches pierced the forest. A body flew back, shredded midair. Lila dropped beside him, clutching her weapon, face pale but resolute. More inbound, she panted. 3 o'clock. Let them come. Overhead, the wind shifted. Smoke curled up through the trees, and the forest exhaled a new sound, something ancient. Not words. Not language. But morning. The scouts were losing. And the canopy was keeping count. The smoke still clung to the trees like a shroud. Ash drifted through the early morning haze, catching the first streaks of sunlight. Somewhere in the distance, a crow cried once, then fell silent. The woods had gone mute again, not in peace, but anticipation. A silence earned by blood. Elias crouched beside the wreckage of the first kill. Charred flesh crackled beneath his boots. The creature's exoskeleton split open like overcooked shellfish. He prodded the corpse with the butt of his rifle, careful not to touch the faintly glowing gland embedded in its spine. Lila approached cautiously, nose wrinkling against the stench of burnt resin and something more metallic, ozone and copper mixed with something she couldn't name. "You ever seen anything like this?" she asked. "No," Elias replied, gaze fixed. "But I've fought things that didn't bleed red." She knelt, scanning the body with a reconfigured biosensor rigged from salvage tech. The readings blinked erratically, unstable. Unnatural. "This isn't a scout," she said slowly. "It's a probe. Part organic, part machine. Think, advanced drone with adaptive intelligence. This one wasn't here to fight. It was here to catalog everything." Elias didn't respond. He was watching the treetops. "Then who comes after the probe?" She hesitated, her eyes following his. "Something that doesn't ask questions." They both fell silent. The woods crackled faintly, not branches, but something electric. Subtle tones vibrated against their eardrums, too low to be conscious, but enough to make the skin itch. Elias looked up. "That hum, it's not from one source. They've activated the mesh," she muttered, tapping rapidly at her sensor. "It's some kind of distributed surveillance network, biosynced to the forest canopy. It's watching everything within a 2-mile radius. Then it knows we're still breathing." Lila swallowed hard. "And adapting." Elias stood, brushing bark from his knees. "Then we stop adapting. We strike first." She blinked at him. "Strike what?" "We don't even know where their main relay is." He turned, eyes glinting with quiet purpose. "That's what I'm going to find out." They moved swiftly through the underbrush. Elias's movements were fluid, deliberate, each step avoiding dry twigs, each pause dictated by terrain and instinct. Lila struggled to keep pace, burdened by gear and adrenaline. She finally hissed, "Do you even have a plan?" "Of course," he said. "Well, care to share it?" He stopped and pointed upward. The trees here were different, thicker bark, broader leaves, and a faint bioluminescent moss climbing their trunks. "They like elevation," he said. "Whatever they're using for relays, they'll plant them where signals can triangulate." "You think there's a central hub?" He nodded. "They're organized. Not random. Which means there's command. We find the node, we cut their vision. And if they defend it?" Elias gave a small, grim smile. "Then we see how fast they bleed." An hour later, they reached a ridge that overlooked a glen, sunlit, quiet, deceptively serene. At the center of the clearing stood an ancient oak, its branches sprawling like twisted veins. Hanging from those limbs were shapes, small, motionless. Lila lifted binoculars. "Skins." Elias took them. "Not human." She nodded. "Animals. Hollowed. Woven together. Like scarecrows, decoys. Distraction," he muttered. "Which means—" He pointed deeper into the woods, where shadows clung unnaturally thick. "Something's there." They moved again, circling the glade, sticking to cover. As they crept forward, the air grew colder. Moisture beaded on their skin. Lila's scanner began clicking softly. "Signal spike. We're close." Through a gap in the brush, they finally saw it. A cocoon of translucent material strung between 4 trees, pulsing with faint light. Inside, something massive stirred. Tubes pulsed from the forest floor into the structure, drawing nutrients, feeding power. Around it, 6 figures perched motionless in the canopy, guardians, encased in bark-like armor, watching. Lila whispered, "That's a hive controller. An uplink node fused with a command organism. If we kill it, they lose coordination," Elias finished. She exhaled. "But we'd have to get past those things first." Elias turned toward her. "Then we split. Are you insane? Distract them. I go in. I've done worse." She grabbed his arm. "This isn't a battlefield. We're not in uniform. This is—" He cut her off. "This is survival. You said it yourself, if we don't cut their eyes they'll swarm. I need 30 seconds. Can you give me that?" She hesitated, then nodded. "Try not to die." Elias vanished into the underbrush. Lila moved the opposite direction, pulling a flare from her belt. She broke it, tossed it left. A red spark shot into the sky, whistling. The guardians reacted instantly, movement like thunder through leaves. All 6 darted toward the flare's path. That was his opening. Elias broke from cover and sprinted across the clearing. The cocoon loomed before him, humming, vibrating. He yanked a thermite charge from his satchel and slammed it against the membrane. It sank in like wet tissue. He turned to run. Then a whisper, too close. Something behind him. He rolled just in time to see one guardian returning, too fast to intercept. It lunged. His sidearm barked twice, center mass. The creature flinched, hesitated, then collapsed. Behind him, the charge ignited. The cocoon exploded in a burst of red-orange light. Flames roared up into the treetops. Vines shrieked as they curled into ash. The pulse died. All at once, the humming stopped. Lila watched from the brush, breath caught in her throat. The woods fell silent again. But this time, the silence felt earned. The forest did not burn. The flames that consumed the alien cocoon had been brief and surgical, igniting only what was alien, rejecting the rest. Whatever fuel the invaders had threaded into the trees had died with the uplink. But the damage was done. The silence afterward was no longer the calm of wilderness. It was the eye of something larger. Elias sat hunched under a collapsed tree, wrapping gauze around the gash along his ribs. The guardian's claws had caught him mid-roll, clean but deep. Every movement pulled at the wound like a hook through muscle. "You need stitches," Lila said, crouched beside him. She smelled like smoke and adrenaline. "Just a scratch. That scratch is 2 inches deep. You're leaking like a stuck pig. Still breathing." She didn't argue further. She'd learned he only responded to necessity. Instead, she checked her scanner, now modified to piggyback on the last remaining alien frequency still bleeding into the environment. Static, mostly. But beneath it a pulse. Not regular. Not directional. Not organized. "Whatever network we disrupted," she said, "it wasn't central control. It was tactical." Elias tied off the bandage. "Then who's giving orders now?" She turned the screen toward him. A waveform danced like erratic heartbeats. "Something we haven't seen yet." They exchanged a look, silent agreement. The real threat hadn't revealed itself. Yet. They moved again, deeper into the forest, but now the landscape had changed. Bark patterns warped unnaturally. Vines grew in angular symmetry. The trees seemed taller, almost watching. Whatever lingered in the canopy had pulled back, regrouping. Elias noticed it first. "The birds are gone." Lila stopped. "You're right. No insects either. Something's killing the ambient noise. That's not hunting. That's cleansing." She glanced at the scanner. "Low-frequency compression. There's pressure building in the air. Something's coming." The ground rumbled faintly, barely more than a vibration. Then a sound, deep and organic. Like a groan carried through stone. The forest responded with a creak, branches stiffening, leaves retracting like eyelids closing. Elias raised his weapon. This isn't recon anymore. From the shadows, a shape emerged. Larger than the scouts. Taller than a man. Its body rippled with shifting armor, organic plates that flexed like muscles. Unlike the scouts, it didn't blend in. It stood proudly visible, as if daring them to look away. Its head split vertically with a hiss, revealing rows of spiraled mandibles. Inside, a static-filled voice crackled, disjointed, half-mimicked. Earth, resistance, recorded. Lila backed up. It's talking. No, Elias muttered. It's replaying. The creature stepped forward, its gait disturbingly fluid. It paused at the edge of a clearing, claws twitching like antennae. Elias circled left, trying to flank. The creature turned instantly. It was watching both of them. Simultaneously. Lila whispered. That's not just a soldier. It's a memory node. Combat recorder. Designed to learn from every failure. Elias nodded slowly. Then it's already seen us win. The creature charged. Elias fired first, 2 rounds to the chest, a third to the eye cluster. The creature jerked back, armor cracking, but it didn't fall. Instead, it twisted midair and slammed into a tree trunk, launching itself again with terrifying speed. Lila rolled, firing a sonic emitter she modified from a defibrillator. The pulse caught the beast mid-lunge, distorting its form in a burst of electromagnetic interference. Elias seized the moment, closed the distance, tomahawk in hand. He struck. The blade bit deep into the creature's neck, tearing through armor into soft tissue beneath. It shrieked, not from pain, but interference. Its body spasmed violently as systems short-circuited. Elias drove the weapon in deeper. The creature collapsed, convulsing. Lila approached, breath ragged. You killed it? Elias stepped back. No. The corpse twitched, then froze. Its armor detached, piece by piece, like scales peeling away. Beneath, something glowed. A circular node embedded in the spine. It's uploading, she gasped. Even in death, it's transmitting everything it learned. Without hesitation, Elias pulled a magnesium flare and jammed it into the creature's chest. The node hissed, then vaporized in blinding white light. Silence. Then, a distant howl. Not one. Many. All around them. Lila swallowed hard. You just lit a beacon. Elias nodded, jaw clenched. Good. They retreated to higher ground, an abandoned ranger tower Elias had fortified years ago. It wasn't built for war, but it had height, steel shutters, and a defensible perimeter. Inside, Lila set up the portable field array salvaged from the last node. She tuned it across alien wavelengths, listening. The signal came through, barely a whisper, almost a prayer. Query registered, human combatant detected. Initiate extermination protocol. Elias looked out the window, scanning the treetops. Shapes moved among them, more than before. Coordinated now. Angry. We've escalated, Lila said quietly. They think we're a threat. He turned, voice calm but steely. Now they're right. Outside, the sky darkened, not from clouds, but movement. The second wave had arrived.